You want to paint the perfect picture, make yourself perfect, and paint naturally.
So Scott Welsh, welcome on the podcast. How's it going today?
It's going great. Great talking to you.
Pleasure to have you here. Of course, you're in Vietnam right now. I'm curious to hear about your story. So you were referred to me by a trader that I know, a friend of mine, that was telling me about like what you do and things. And I'm curious to hear about kind of your story, what you went through, the lessons you got to move from what you were before to trading, and also kind of some tips you have for people today. So we'll give some background. And the first thing I like to ask my guests is one quote that inspired you. So do you have any quote that you live by or that inspire you?
Well, a lot of quotes, Etienne. I've been a coach for a while. I was a tennis player as a junior, and then I was a tennis coach. That was my first love. So it was my job to find cool quotes to motivate people and to motivate myself. But one I like is it's an old quote from a philosopher that you want to paint the perfect picture, make yourself perfect, and paint naturally. Meaning that if you want to be a great tennis player, for example, get yourself fit, get yourself psychologically sane, fix your strokes, and then just play. You don't want to get out there and then worry about a bunch of stuff. Same with trading. Get yourself a system, get yourself psychologically sane again, and study your system, trust your system, and then just let it go. So I really like that quote, and it's worked in sports, but it works everywhere.
Yeah, it's awesome. So actually people tend to rely on like outside things to kind of become better. Like they want to have this thing outside to improve the trading and stuff, but that's not the way it works from what you're saying, from what I've seen also in the past.
Oh yeah. Or right. If I have trouble, right, I've got money trouble. I've got some sort of monetary problem that I need to solve. Oh, I know. I'll trade and that will solve the problem. Well, we got all sorts of psychological problems going into that. So yeah, trading won't solve that. Get yourself right. If you're not good off the screen, you won't be good on the screen. That's usually very true, I've found.
Nice. Let's go back in time. I want you to tell people kind of how you started trading exactly. So what was it when you moved from what you were doing before to trading? And what was that first moment?
Well, first moment for me, as a tennis pro, you work at first, you work by the hour. I teach this lesson and I get paid and then I teach more lessons. And if your clientele grows, you make money. And if not, then you suffer. It's a very tough profession to get in, but I loved it. But as I started to do well and build up a clientele, I started to make a few dollars. What does a tennis pro do, ATM? Like what do I do? There's no retirement plan. There's no pension. I didn't at the time ever see getting off the court. But I needed to retire. I mean, am I going to be 85 years old giving tennis? Like, what am I going to do? That's really I have some money. What am I going to do with that? That moment was really in the early 2000s. I'm like, I got to do something, right? I'm making it. I'm loving it. But what do I do about it? And trading was by far something I've been intrigued with it in my whole life. But now I really wanted to use it to try to make my own retirement plan. And honestly, it's just grown from there. So it's been a long journey, but it seemed to fit very nicely with what I needed in my life. I needed a retirement plan.
Yeah. Did things go well from the start, or did you kind of have to learn and adjust over time in trading?
Well, I started in stocks like almost everybody does. All of my favorite books were Warren Buffett books. Buy on sale, buy something 50% off. And then, of course, it comes back to fair value. That's where I started. Those are the books I liked. Those are the books I believed in. So I started with stocks and I had my Investor's Business Daily. I'd find my stocks there. I read all the books on Buffett and tried to figure out my own formulas, my fundamental formulas. Is a stock fairly priced? And then I would try to use a simple indicator like a MACD to try to time it. And it just sounds pitiful talking to you right now and telling you, but it worked. I mean, the first 3 years I did great. I thought I was a master. Clearly I didn't know what I was doing, but made about 30% per year, 3 years in a row. And I thought, hey, it's great. But that was then getting into 2005, 2006, 2007. You can see what was coming. Something bad was coming. And all of a sudden, just doing fundamental analysis on a MACD wasn't enough. Started breaking even, started not doing well. And then just went into a really big study mode where I said, listen, I may not have gone in depth enough on this. And so that's when I kind of backed off stocks, was redefining methods, and then got introduced to Forex. And that started me in a totally different direction. So I didn't blow anything up. I did okay, but it wasn't repeatable in my mind. I didn't feel like I could do this forever. I felt a little bit lucky, and I wanted to have more of a system, more something concrete.
Nice. It's funny because I kind of remember doing that too at first, the value investing part of trying to kind of find what a company was worth and trying to invest in a company. And it didn't work for me. So I really didn't like that style. But yeah, it's something I've done also in the past, which was really, really interesting.
I'm sorry. I think at the beginning, I was trying to do what I was supposed to do, right? In quotes. I like Buffett, so I was trying to do it right. I spent my time trying to figure out what I was supposed to do rather than what worked for me or what might even be smart. I was almost like I was imitating trading, and I'm buying something on sale, whatever. And if you're imitating something, it's never going to be authentic and it's going to fail. Your first losing streak is going to knock you right out.
Exactly. How was that learning curve in Forex? Was it the same? Was it easier? Or did you kind of, because some people are going to move from a market to the other, they kind of find that they click better. But some people, they have like a learning curve to go through and everything. How was that for you?
I felt like stocks was pretty fast because I feel like stocks can be fast. Like these are companies, these are real things. Oh, I'm going to buy Home Depot stock. Look, I can go to Home Depot. It just feels like, it feels like, oh, I can buy a stock. And honestly, I feel like you can get lucky much easier. There's thousands of stocks. You can pick one that goes up. You feel like a genius, whatever. So I didn't feel like the learning curve for stocks was that great. Of course, I needed a system, a real system. I think the learning curve in Forex was much harder. First of all, still a lot of people I talk to don't know what Forex is. What's a pip? What do you mean you're trading the dollar yen? Well, did it go up or down? Well, the dollar went up, but the yen went down. Plus learning Forex for dummies, Forex for beginners, like all that. I said the learning curve is pretty steep. Then I thought after a couple years of study, I thought I was ready. Turns out I wasn't ready because once you get through the learning curve of what Forex is, how systems react to it, now you've got the leverage problem, especially back then when there wasn't much leverage in the United States, and it's so easy to go too big too soon. So learning curve in Forex was, I don't know, triple as long, quadruple as long. It was many years longer than it was for me for stocks.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned after a few years of study, you were not ready to trade live or not ready to trade. So do you think that you spent too much time studying and not enough time taking action and kind of learning in the trenches?
Oh, man. Yes. 100 times yes. 10 times. Put an exclamation mark on that. I think that's my biggest weakness when it comes to trading, especially early on. And even still to this day, I think it's getting better all the time. But I think maybe I'm too cautious. But I love research. And I like being sure. I like having all my ducks in a row. I like showing up prepared in life, and I like showing up prepared with my trading systems. So 100% yes. I feel like number one, don't go in too large, right? Don't use too much leverage. But absolutely 100%, I should have had small trade size and getting in the market. I can't even tell you, before I even made robots and automated strategies, the notebook after notebook of studies, and I do it 3 hours. I teach a few lessons. I come back 3 more hours. Yes, I should have been trading. I should have found something simple. I should have gotten in the market because the best teacher is get in the market and what happens. Forward testing, actually trading is by far the best method. And I've studied, thousands of hours, but that's far the best. So yes, you got it, Etienne. Where were you when I was starting trading? Gosh darn it.
When did you realize that you were kind of at the right point in trading, that things started to work out? When was that?
The best 3 months of trading I ever had was in Forex. It was 2010, and it was May. I'll never forget. We called it the Mother's Day Massacre because it happened right around Mother's Day. That's what we call it. I'd been trading, buy something on sale in Forex. Of course, there's no fair value is pretty sticky, right? There's no fundamental analysis. It's a lot harder. But I had a technical indicator, just a moving average, that I determined was fair value, and I'd wait for price to drop away, and I'd buy it back or get high above it and sell it back. And 3 months period, it's starting in May ish, 2010. It was unbelievable. I didn't use a stop loss. If I got into trouble, I would just use my indicators and buy another position and get back in. And it was win after win after win. It was never ending winning. My trading partner, my girlfriend, my life partner, whatever, she would get up. She was in this with me. We'd both get up in the morning. We'd take some trades. I'd go in. I'd teach a lesson. She'd call me. I made another 1,000. These were the glorious times. Made about $50,000. Made $10,000 in a single trade. Everything was amazing. But it was actually that $10,000 trade that ended this glorious period. As it turns out, Etienne, we were trading too big, and the markets didn't give us any problems. So it was win, 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 win. Over 50 wins in a row, $1,000 a day. We got into a trade that lasted 5 days, and it's the worst 5 days of my life that weren't, actual tragedy related, actually death of the family or anything like that. We didn't sleep. Imagine you're 2, 3 a.m. waiting to hear some indicator on your screen down the hall. Did it hit our target? Did it hit? What did it? I was a zombie. I'll never forget it. It was a Friday, Sunday gap. We had spent 5 days down 5,000, down 8,000, down 10,000. We're in like a $60,000 account. So, it's significant. It's getting worse. Friday, it had come back up. We're down like $3,000. Sunday, it gapped open. I was actually at the tennis club teaching a lesson at the time. Jill called me. He said, it just gapped in our favor and made $10,000. And my knees buckled literally. I was like rubbery and shaky because I knew we got lucky. I knew it. We were trading way too big. Way too big. And it gapped in our favor and it's fine. And that was really the moment I calmed down. We stopped doing that. And probably we shouldn't, but we should just come back in with smaller size. But we stopped that. And that's when I spent like a year studying. Again, too much study. And then I got into automated systems, and that was a turning point. So this led to the turning point. But automating systems, that was honestly the biggest turning point probably.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised to hear this because most of these stories are going to be you're lucky, you win a little money, and then you lose it all after. But you took the sensible approach, which is really, really cool to hear because you don't hear that often, which is really nice.
No, I never blew it up. The worst moment of my life was a winner. And, honestly, it's just luck. The trade could have gone the other way. I know I'm lucky. I don't think it was any skill whatsoever. So I feel very fortunate that my worst experience was not a blow up, right? It was a win. So again, just luck. But I was bound to make that luck count and not go crazy and do something stupid anymore.
Yeah. I think there are these times where kind of the market is really working well with what you trade. Like you're taking a trade in time of days going to work out well. Mm-hmm. In those kind of periods now, are you going to be in the market more, like try to be there more active, or are you just going to do the same thing you do all the time?
Right now?
So like if the market were to kind of be really like you get like a really good win rate for some time, would you be tempted to trade more and be there more active, or
Well, the answer is back then for sure. When we're making that $1,000 a day, let's take another trade. Like we're perfect or we're invulnerable. Now I'm 100% systems based. I don't make any of those decisions on my own. So lucky streak, I'm like, oh, good. Computer, way to go, software. You made another winning trade. And I don't get involved. Even automated trading, it takes years of practice, at least for me, to not get emotional on it. Because you still losing streak. I want to turn that baby off. But now winning streaks, lucky streaks, I just let it ride. And I know it's going to stop, but, I just let the robot keep taking trades.
Nice. How was your experience of moving to algos, and how was the learning curve for that? Like, how did you have to learn?
I love it so much. I got to the point where, especially after that terrible experience, that we got lucky on, I was sitting in front of charts and I tried other systems, on and off. Like I try something and then I'd get out. I try something and get out. I didn't like sitting in front of the screen. Like I'd get mad. I didn't like spending hours and hours. I'd get angry. I'd get emotional. Why isn't it moving? It's moving the wrong way. What am I going to do? So that learning curve, or I guess I should say when I switched to robot trading, I loved it so much that trading for me really became enjoyable. It had gotten to the point where it wasn't enjoyable. If you ever seen the movie Moneyball, it's a story of a guy who put together a baseball team, but he never watched the games. And seeing that movie, love that movie. That's the way I am with my trading. I love trading so much. I love the research so much, but I don't actually want to be there when the trade's on. Just do it and give me the result, and I'll analyze it and move on. So I don't actually love screen time that much, but I love everything else that goes into it, similar to the main character in Moneyball. But the learning curve, get all the way back, the learning curve for automated systems is substantial. To do it from scratch like I did, where I don't program, I know some code now, but I knew nothing. Hiring programmers, finding a programmer, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. You try some harebrained idea and it's like, this doesn't work. And now you got to pay more money to get that fixed. So it was years plural for me. I got into robots 2012-ish. I got really comfortable probably after 3 to 5 years. I got really, really comfortable. But really probably I was active in the market within 2 years, in 2012. So 2013, 2014, I started trading robots pretty much on and off, mostly on full time. But yeah, there's still a learning curve. There's still learning going on. But you can shortcut this, find a programmer you like, whether that's yourself, and find someone who's made systems and get a mentor or a coach. Obviously in athletics, coaching matters. That would have helped me. I think the learning curve could be much, much shorter if people can find someone they trust and just get started in the market. Like you said, don't sit around like I did studying so much. Find something, you trust and get in the market. It doesn't have to be years, but it was for me.
Yeah, I kind of believe in that too. The power of coaching and having someone with you. And I feel like people these days want to get into algo trading, but the thing that they're stuck with is like the coding part. I think it's easier now with like all these platforms online where you can kind of code something with just like drag and drop or just like visually.
Yeah,
it's better. Right. But some people just want to find programmers. How did you find your programmers? Was it some people connections, or something else?
Yeah, it was. I had a friend in trading, the friend who got me in at Forex, and he recommended someone. And again, that was luck because he was great. He was very meticulous. He wasn't cheap, but I didn't expect him to be. But he's very meticulous. I was able to say my ideas, and he was able to code them very easily. So I got lucky there. But I would really recommend ask somebody who knows somebody. That is the best place to start because it can be very daunting out there trying to find a programmer. Just go on TradeStation site or even just like trading forums. That can be difficult. I like recommendations. So that's what I would do. I have a programmer now in Forex. I had a previous programmer. I do a little coding now myself for my own strategies, but I would say try to get someone to know someone.
What is your trading style these days? Is it more day trading, like intraday, or swing trading, or long term? What does it look like?
I always thought day trading was the only way, right? If you're going to trade for a living, I thought day trading was it. Like, how can you take 5 trades a year and trade for a living? That's ridiculous. Now, that's a dumb way to think, but that's the way I thought. And so I spent, just for one robot that I still trade today, I've lost count of 2,500 hours I've spent on it, which is ridiculous, but also, one for me too, but it's ridiculous. But that was on a 15-minute chart because that's the only way it's ever going to work. I need to trade almost every day. And then, first I was trading multiple times a day. Then I was wanting to trade every day. And then as you go, what you realize, like, you don't have to trade every day. If I actually started liking the days where I was off because clearly the market, wasn't giving me what I needed. So day trading is where when I started making algos, day trading was 15-minute charts, 5-minute charts, but I settled on 15. That has expanded out. I mean, that's where I've spent a ton of my time. I've expanded now. I got into trend following in a big way. I've studied it like crazy. I've done a course on it. I've built robots for it, but it's crazy, Etienne. It is 4 to 7 trades a year. And you can trade for a living like that, but that's a lot of downtime. But that is a smaller amount of money in trend following. I'm also getting very much back into counter trend trading, back to fair value, but in a smarter, safer way with stop losses in a real system. So right now I'm branching out. What I'm working on right now, probably the most excited I've ever been in my trading, is instead of being so tunnel visioned, combining all these things that I've learned over the years. Like right now, I'm really, really happy with 4 to 5 systems of mine. I'm really happy with them by themselves. But if you trade one thing at a time, it's great for focus. But what happens when it doesn't trade, or what happens when it goes to a losing streak? Like, you really suffer. I'm working on now, and it's been a ton of work. But combining, what would a 15-minute strategy look like with an hour strategy? Combined with a trend following day strategy, combined with XYZ. And it's super exciting. Portfolio creation is way complicated to find something. Is it correlated? Is it not? This one works with that one, and why? Will it stop? I love it desperately. I mean, I absolutely adore it. but it's super hard. And, really in 2019, this is my number one thing is the combining of all. But yeah, that's a long answer to an easy question. Sorry. But I started mostly day trading that are probably over within 6 to 8 hours. But I have branched out to swing trading.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome goal for sure. That's pretty cool. That's something that I didn't really work with so far, the portfolio part, but something I can see be well in the future for myself as well. Yep. So what kind of things you look at in your strategies? Are they things that like manual trader would look at, or things that are more subtle, like maybe margins in price or different measures?
I love simple. I've always loved simple. If you can't explain it to someone, I worry about it. Now, that doesn't mean I look back at the first robot I built. It's so complicated, Etienne. It's just the rules I have. I look through the code like ridiculous. I spent thousands on that. And people say it's a cliche, keep it simple. But the math for me has shown simple is actually better. So I like simple things. My day trading robot is determine the trend. All right, you can use a moving average. You can use a momentum indicator. You can use MACD. I've tried them all. Moving average is fine. So you say, okay, moving average determines a trend. You get in on a pullback and you go for a small win. And that's basically the thrust of my day trading. It can get more complicated than that, but honestly, that simple stuff works. Trend following does it break this high? And then you just work on your money management, right? Does it break this low? Right now, I'm just absolutely adore longer term charts and simple ideas. The longer the term chart, trading ideas just work better. Just work like have a trade. When it's down 5 days in a row, buy. Guess what? On a daily chart, you can find stuff that works. Like you might be able to trade for a living on something like that. Whereas in a day trading chart, it's like you have to test it, you have to spend the hours, and still the market can switch on a dime. But I like simple stuff. I love breakouts. I love trading back to fair value, and the day trading, determine the trend and get in on a pullback. Like that's the crux of what I do.
I think these ideas are better than what most people look at anyway. Like they're going to look at something really complicated with different indicators and tools, or try to add filter to make it more solid, which usually kind of make it less solid, I think.
I love adding filters. I feel like have you been looking on my trading journal or something? I love adding filters, and it honestly, I keep it simple. I've taken almost all of them out, but I loved adding filters, and I've added so many, and it works. But then in live, you go through a losing streak, and then you test it and you watch it, and it's like this didn't work. So the less rules you have, definitely the better. You need probably 2, 3, 4 rules, but 10 rules is not better. It's just what I found.
Yeah. Do you still review the trades that your algo take, or you just kind of are confident that they're going to be the right trades?
No, I'm confident. I'm confident that they'll all be taken right. So I don't worry about. What I do worry about is, especially on day trading, spreads. That's my number one concern. If it trades at 5 p.m. New York time, for example, and I'm going for 15, 20 pips, well, the spread might eat up 10 of that. On the Euro Aussie, might eat up 20 of that. Like you can have a winning trade turn into a losing trade, and that's a problem. If you've tested a system over 17 years and you're counting on the spreads being fairly reasonable, you have too many of these spread breakers, too many of these things that are 10 pip wide. You got to make an adjustment there. So I watch that very closely, how the spread reacts. If I wanted 15 pips, did I get them? Most of the time I do, but I watch that very closely. Yes. But no, as far as the trading ideas, no, they're executed fine. I don't worry about that.
I think that's a good point of trading higher time frame. The fact that you don't have to, you have more room for the spread to get easier.
Oh, that's what, again, I've spent literally thousands of hours in the 15-minute chart, right? But, it's been in the last 6, 8, 12 months for me, daily charts like, oh, you need a 100 pip win and the spread was too big. Oh, you got 99. Like, who cares? You go for a 10 pip win and you get 9, you've lost 10%, right? You go for a 100 pip win on a chart, you get 99, you've lost 1%. It's just, I'm just falling in love with the longer term charts, with each passing week. I still have my 15-minute chart, but boy, I love longer time frames. And I think I was stupid, a long time ago. I should have started with long term probably quite a while ago.
What would be your advice for people that, let's say, started to create algos, but then they came with a losing system and they want to make it right? They want to get to a winning system. What would you tell them to do or work on?
And it's an algo, right? Not just a discretionary system.
Yeah.
More data is the first thing I would say. How long did you test it? How complicated is your idea? But let's say, for example, they go, it didn't back test. Well, was it 5 years? Was it 10 years? Was it 20 years? Like, tell me about your data. A lot of people, and some people believe in it, but they test, it's only 6 months ago, right? I want to stay current. I want to stay in the market. I found that to be dangerous. So I say, if you're doing that, okay, let's go 5 years. Let's go 10 years. I always use as much data as possible. So in my Forex, the data that I use, it goes back to 2003. If I'm doing futures, I'll go back to the 90s if I can. So I would say first, check your data. Second of all, give me your rules, and I'd want to know. You could tell pretty quickly if they describe their system, it's not going to work. But the thing is, if they add data, that thing that they think is not work, guess what? It might work. Like, that's why I think the first thing to do is add data. Your trading system that you think stinks might not stink. Everything has losing years. You just have to accept that, especially on a daily chart, not enough trades. So that's what I would look at. I would look at the rules, and there might be ways to just calm it down and say, okay, this is profitable. You're almost there. Just do this. But first thing would be data.
Yeah. And I think this works the same with manual trading. It's like pretty much the same issue. People that either back there for like a few weeks, expect it to work, or
right. I'm looking at hopefully thousands of trades just to get started trading tomorrow. I want to look at, when I started, I did 30 trades. I'm ready to go. Like, you just like, we think that, like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So you go back. How about to just do a little bit more work, don't spend too long like we talked about, but do a little bit more, go back a little farther. Your answers might be there in front of you.
Yeah. And do you still test your algos on a demo account for some time, or you just go live with them when you have the data and everything around?
Both. If I really love it now, I don't wait anymore. I get started next week. I study. I'll do really intense for a few weeks, maybe even a month. But once I'm there, and obviously the longer you test, you can see something's going to work quicker. Like, there's no reason. So I'm much better now. In the last year or so, I'm ready to go to market. I'll get right to it. And what I'll do is my ideas. I have charts. I have so many workspaces, and I check them all. I go back. So there's stuff running in the background that I'm kind of forward testing, but not with any money. But I try to go quick to market with ideas that I'm darn sure about, and then I just watch stuff. And I'll come back 6 months later. It's like, this is a good idea. Why wasn't I trading this all along? And then put that in.
Totally, yeah. And for me, like, I started trading my first algo only about like 6 to 8 months ago. And I know, like, the first time I really want to go on a demo account first, kind of test it out, make sure it goes fine. And we found some issues that we had to correct that time. But I would see how over time you don't really need to do that all the time, for sure, if you have the data.
Well, I recommend anyone who asks me about anything about robot trading, even if you're trading, let's say someone wants to trade exactly the one that I trade, that I'm 100% sure about, and not only is it a good system, but like it's the time has gone into it, I will say go in a demo account. Because if you're new to algo trading, don't do it with real money. Please, I don't. And you don't need to do it for a while. Do like 5 trades, or just watch it. Get used to how it goes, and then go. Then next a super small trade size, and then go. But I would never buy anything from anyone or create something on my own and then go, let's go to the market, right? You definitely need to see a trade because, like you said, you can find bugs everywhere. Like I said, I've been around my robots so long that I know there's not any bugs, but absolutely you need to do that 100%.
Of course, totally agree with that. And it could just be something where like people buy a robot, then they use it live and they see something that they're not used to seeing. And then they start the algo. They do something weird for whatever reason. So happens for sure. Yeah.
And well, that's the thing too. You need to check with the person you bought it from too. Ask questions, don't buy a robot and be on your own. Otherwise it could take years, right? Or learning how to code. If you're going to use a robot that you didn't build, have someone that you can ask, did you get this trade? Is this trade right? That will speed you up so much faster than, is that right? Because, you didn't make the system. You're not familiar with it. Like, is it really supposed to get in when stochastic says, so have someone you can talk to. But if you create it yourself, then yes, check it. Well, let's see, did it follow my rules exactly? For sure. You need a checkpoint.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear, what kind of equipment do you have for trading algos? Is there something different than like a manual trader would have, or do you have some kind of must-have tools?
I'm not big on tools. I love technology, but I think traders can get very distracted from actually taking trades with buying monitors and all that. So don't get distracted. Just like tennis players, I got the racket, I got the shoes, I got the, calm down, let's hit some balls. Same thing with traders. But for me, a virtual server is the biggest tool.
Yeah.
The broker that I'm with had a company they partnered with. I tried them out and, it's just worked perfectly. Again, I've gotten lucky on a handful of places with recommendations. That's the biggest one, to be able to have a bunch of charts that you can get on a computer anywhere in the world and check in and say, it's running 24 hours a day, no power goes out. So a virtual server, find someone you trust that will keep it up. That is the biggest tool. But honestly, I traded robots for years, plural, just on a computer. And if a thunderstorm hit, I had to call the trade desk. I just did it like that, so a virtual server is pretty cool, but that's really the only tool. Laptops, desktops, and a virtual server, nothing really special.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned this because the first 2 months of me training algos, I didn't have any VPS or virtual private server. I would do everything on my computer at home and I was traveling. So I had to connect there through an app and everything. And it didn't work really well because there was some power outages and weird updates in Windows and everything that would close the computer. So
there it is. Yes, the Windows update. Oh, I've lost trades on that Etienne.
Yeah, of course. And I would just sometimes connect maybe 2-3 days later because I didn't connect every day because I didn't have time sometimes to find out the computer was closed, and then I had to kind of call someone to restart it again. Yeah. So.
Oh man, yeah, I've had that. Yeah, that's part of it. And a virtual server really that all goes away. I just thought that was part of it. And I was fine, honestly, with part of it. I mean, it sucked, when the power went out. But honestly, I just thought that's just life. Life is much better when all the trades are taken. That's definitely a better deal.
Totally right. Is there any topics or maybe some tips you want to give that we didn't cover so far? Anything you feel you have to mention?
For algo trading or for trading in general?
For anything, anything.
There's a couple things. First, trade what you like. You don't have to have the perfect system, all that stuff. Or say it the other way, you can have a perfect system and it won't work if you don't like the way it trades. Like a story that I've written about or whatever. I have a profit. My first robot I made, I stopped trading after 8 weeks, and I had made money. I was profitable. I just didn't like it. Don't look for the perfect system based on someone else's likes or dislikes or what they created. Trade what you like. If you don't like the losing, and this is your life lesson, but if you don't like the losing, you don't like it. And you'll never, ever be successful. You can have a mediocre system that you're happy when you're in a trade. You love the methodology behind it, and you don't care if it loses because the market turned. It's okay. Rather than buying a quote unquote perfect system that when you lose, why did that lose? Well, why was it stop out so fast? Or why am I in a trade for 3 months only to lose? If you're having those thoughts, you're for sure going to lose. Right. But if you have a system like it lost today, I understand why. Let's get ready. I'll watch it trade tomorrow. So the biggest tip is trade something you like to where if it loses, you're okay. I mean, I've left so many systems because as soon as I take a loss, I don't like that anymore. Right now, I'm much more comfortable with the losing part, and that makes just a world of difference.
Yeah, this is the thing I've seen, that people need to trade with the tools that they're comfortable with, that they like. You can hear online that you got to use this or that tool, but if you don't understand it or like it, then it's never going to work, which is what you mentioned. It's awesome.
100% agree. 100%. Don't read it. Don't let anyone tell you what you're supposed to do. Right? You have to have a fast computer, right? Buy a new computer, fine, right? Don't want to be in the Stone Ages. Right? Get your virtual server if you want to, but don't do what anyone tells you what you're supposed to do, right? Ask people for advice and listen, and then make it your own. But don't do what you're supposed to do. That really bothers me. Don't do that.
Yeah. And the other thing I feel is that people, with the knowledge they have now with social media and all these blogs and videos and everything online, they kind of already have some tools that they know and that they're comfortable with. They just they want to find something new all the time, which they will be better relying on what they already know, I think.
100% for sure. You have a style that you like. You have it, I have it, we all have it. And you can diversify like I talked about and say, okay, well, now I'm going to make a family, right? But especially when you're starting out, Start with what you like. Again, use a tennis analogy. You like your forehand. Well, hit your forehand. Doesn't mean you don't learn backhands and everything. Yes, you're going to learn the whole game. You're going to put together your portfolio one day. But start with if you like breakouts and trend following and being in a winning trade as the trade just piles up over 30, 60 days, and then you stop out quickly, you're going to be successful. And you'll say, I hate this. Give me day trading. Give me action. Right. So definitely, what you like. Put something on a chart. You'll know immediately, and then stick to what you like. Don't leave that system because someone on a forum told you. Right. Yeah. If you like it, stick with it.
Did you ever feel like you want to kind of drop the ball on the system and kind of leave it to go to something else, or like something you were working on, or something that like you were trading live? And how did you kind of overcome that? Because I feel, go from system to system all the time, trying to work on something new and then drop it to something new again. So how do you avoid this in trading in general, I feel?
Well, probably that thing is my biggest weakness in trading, especially when I got into robots, because I do love the research and I get so much of it that, I tend to believe it. And then especially early when something went wrong, time for more research, right? Research to research. But that's probably cost me thousands and thousands of dollars trading a system. Well, losing streak, something must be wrong. Leaving it, going to and then starting it up. If I just, the stuff that I built in 2013, 2014, if I had just traded almost all of that, like I think only maybe one system I've built since then, like hasn't made money since then. But, I've dropped them and left them and a little bit here, a little bit there. So number one, don't do that. Now, how do you stop that? But you have to believe in the system. It would have been easier. Let's put it this way. If I hadn't been day trading, it would have been easier not to switch. Day trading is so easy to get you to switch something else because it's so twitchy and there's so many things coming at you. You're trading a trend following system. I took 8 trades this year. Like, I'm not going to be switch. I'm committed to this. So the first answer is trade a longer term chart. Trade a longer term chart and you won't switch, right? Unless you immediately hate the fact you're not taking trades. But it all comes down to trust. Do you trust this system? And if you trust it, we're not leaving it. If you don't trust it, then why are you trading it, right? Don't just dabble. Be picky, know what you like, and get into it. And then say, I'm trading this for the next 2 years, period. You just make commitments. You can add on, but you can't add off. But, I was creating this all my own. So did I do it right? Like, I don't know if I did it right. Like, how am I supposed to know? So that caused me to leave. Again, so that circles us back to mentoring too. If you have someone that you do this with, they can tell you, calm down, Sparky. It's going to be fine, right? Because it's hard for you to tell yourself to calm down, Sparky. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it's much easier. If you can have a trading buddy or a trading partner or a mentor or a coach, definitely they can keep you coming back and not switching. I wish I had that.
Uh-huh. What does it take for you to trust the system? Is it only data or something? Because like what I see is that people that don't trust their system is they don't have enough data, not enough like backtesting or anything. But do you need something else to trust it?
I need the idea. I really need the idea now. I need to be able to tell me why this works, and it's got to make sense. And I need to see this fundamental in all of life, not just on the trading screen. When at 2:00 on Tuesdays in March, what does that mean? Like, that's just data. Like, that's nothing, right? But the fact that there are trends and something breaks out. Oh, really? That's only been true for 1,000 years, right? So trend following, right? Oh, Bitcoin, it's breaking out again. Oh, so stuff breaks out. Oh, yeah. The idea of trend following makes sense. The idea that if you buy something at 50% off, that's always going to do something right. That's always going to move you in the right profitable direction. So I need my systems to have a methodology. This goes back to fair value. Well, what's fair value and why? Oh, well, that makes sense, right? Stuff does revert to the mean, right? For example. So I need a reason now. I need the data and I need a reason. If I have both of those, I'm ready. I'm ready to put money on it.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. So how can people find you if they want to connect with you or reach out after this podcast?
How can they find me? ScottWelshStrategies.com is my website. I just had it. I built it a while ago, just got revamped. Ooh, it's nice. There's a contact me on there. I answer all emails myself. I have zero inbox, 24 hours. I answer every email. I love getting that done. I don't like leaving people hanging. So those are the best ways. I'm on Facebook, Scott Welsh Strategies, and I'm on Twitter too.
Nice. Awesome. We'll put the link in the show for that. For sure. People can just click them and go to your website. It's awesome.
Yep.
What kind of goals do you have for the future?
I want to make more money. I want to beat the market. I don't like index funds. I don't like people who tell people to trade index funds. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I feel like we can all do better. I feel like people are making less money. These are people's financial lives on the line. People just stuff in an index fund. Well, really? So I want to beat the market. I want to provide an alternative for me and anyone else to beat the market, do better than index funds. So that's number one. I just want to beat the market all the time. I want to beat it by a lot worse now. So that's my number one goal. I want to not only do better than the market every year, but I want to beat it by multiples. And that's where the portfolio theory is coming in. I feel like with a little diversification with multiple systems running, I feel like it might be even easier to beat the market. So my goal is that no more index funds for anyone, but also to just to do it a little bit better.
Nice. Awesome. And I have this question I ask my guests at the end of every podcast. So if you could give people only one piece of advice, like one piece of advice on how they can thrive as traders, what would that one piece of advice be?
Find a system or a partner or a coach that you trust. Now, you can do the research yourself, and there's your trust, and you can trust yourself. You can find a mentor that will share all the research with you, and so you can get on board with them. But I found trust is the magic word. If you need to find something you trust. Don't dabble. Don't be a part-time person as far as your commitment. You can have another job, but don't be part-time with your commitment. Find something or a system that you trust, and you can survive all the bad times. That's number one for me of all the things that I've studied.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Absolutely. It was great.